Gordon, a young man with a contemplative gaze and callous hands, devoted himself daily to the gardens of the luxurious seaside and an oasis of beauty and tranquility by the sea. With a natural talent for gardening, he turned every flower bed and green corner into true works of art, where flowers and foliage intertwined in harmony and vibrant colors. However, despite his dedication and exceptional skill, Gordon was a nearly invisible figure to the guests and even to the inn staff. His work, though essential, went unnoticed, as if the magnificent landscapes he created sprouted naturally from the earth. One day, while carefully pruning a set of lush roses, Gordon heard approaching footsteps. It was Cheryl, one of the receptionists, accompanied by a couple of guests. They strolled through the garden, admiring the surroundings without realizing the craftsman behind that natural spectacle. "This garden is simply breathtaking," exclaimed the guest, an elegantly dressed woman with an appreciative look. "It looks like something out of a fairy tale," Cheryl smiled, proud. "Our gardens are one of our greatest attractions. We have a team that takes care of them with great care." Upon hearing that, Gordon felt a pang of disappointment. He wanted to intervene, to say that he was the one taking care of those gardens, but shyness held him back. The husband, looking around with curiosity, commented, "It must be a large team to keep everything so perfect. Who is responsible?" Before Gordon could step forward, Cheryl responded promptly, "Oh, we have several gardeners, but it's a team effort, you know, everyone contributes equally." Gordon lowered his gaze, returning his focus to the roses that still needed care. In his heart, he knew that every flower, every bush, every detail of that garden had passed through his hands. But in a world where recognition was often overshadowed by glamour and shallowness, he resigned himself to being just a shadow, an anonymous artist in the midst of his own gallery of natural art. However, within himself, Gordon kept the flame of silent hope alive. He knew that somehow his talent and passion for gardening would one day be recognized, and until that day arrived, he continued to dedicate himself to his invisible work, creating beauty and harmony in every leaf and petal that sprouted under his attentive care. While meticulously tending to the inn's gardens, Gordon, his hands immersed in fertile soil, listened attentively to the bird song mixed with the sound of distant waves. It was a typical morning, with the sun casting its golden rays on the glistening leaves and colorful petals he so carefully nurtured. Suddenly, the garden's serenity was disrupted by hurried voices filled with tension. It was the inn's managers, Robert and Mary, accompanied by Lacey, the events coordinator. They walked along the garden stone paths, clearly concerned. Gordon watched them anxiously, discussing on the terrace about the crisis arising from the unavailability of the decorator for the upcoming grand party. Taking a deep breath, Gordon approached the group, his steps steady but his heart racing. He wiped his hands on his gardener's apron and, with a firmer voice than he felt, said, "Excuse me for interrupting, but I think I can help with the party decoration." The three turned surprised, almost not recognizing the gardener who usually remained in the background. Robert looked at Gordon with a bewildered expression. "You, Gordon, want to help with the decoration? But you're the gardener." Lacey, with a mix of desperation and curiosity in her gaze, asked, "Do you have experience with event decoration?" Gordon, feeling a wave of nervousness, replied, "I studied interior design before becoming a gardener. I have some ideas that could really transform the space." Mary let out an incredulous laugh, shaking her head. "This is unusual, Gordon. You're talented with plants, but decorating a party is a whole different level of responsibility." Robert, trying to be diplomatic but clearly skeptical, added, "We appreciate your offer, Gordon, but it's not as simple as taking care of gardens. We need something spectacular, something that will impress our high-profile guests." Gordon, though disheartened by their reaction, felt a determination growing within him. "I understand your concerns, but please give me a chance to show what I can do." "I know I can surprise you," Lacey, looking at Robert and Mary, pondered, "Maybe we should give him a chance. We don't have many options, and if he studied design." The administrators exchanged hesitant glances, considering the unexpected proposal. Gordon, standing before them, knew that this was his chance to prove that his talent went beyond gardening, that he had the skill and creativity to transform the party into something memorable. It was time to show that there was much more to his essence than they imagined. Now, leave your comments here. We want to know your opinion. Will Gordon get a chance to showcase his talent? Do you think if he manages to convince the inn's administrators that he's good at decorating, the party will be dazzling or a failure? Gordon knew he needed something extraordinary to prove his worth, so he scheduled a meeting for the next day to present his ideas to the inn organizers. Soon, he returned to his small room at the inn, a simple space but filled with sketches, design books, and various materials. With renewed determination, he began working on his grand idea. Gordon spent hours on end drawing, cutting, and assembling a detailed model of the decoration project for the party. He used modest materials, cardboard, glue, fabric scraps, and even natural elements he had collected from the garden. Every detail of the model was carefully thought out, from the arrangement of tables to the subtle lighting that would highlight the natural beauty of the inn. As he worked, he spoke to himself, imagining how each element would fit into the big day. Orchids here, hanging lights there, every detail needs to tell a story, he muttered, completely absorbed in his creation. The next day, with the completed model in hand, Gordon headed to the meeting room where the administrators and Lacey, the events coordinator, awaited him with a mix of curiosity and skepticism. Carefully placing the model on the table, Gordon began to explain his concept. Imagine entering a space where nature and elegance meet in perfect harmony, he began, pointing to the miniature plants and lights on the model. Mary approached, surprised by the attention to detail. "This is incredible, Gordon. Did you really do this all by yourself?" Robert, who initially doubted Gordon's ability, now looked at the model with newfound respect. "How did you come up with this?" It's much more than we expected." Gordon, feeling a wave of pride and relief, replied, "I've always believed that event decoration should complement its natural beauty, not compete with it. Every element in this model was designed to enhance what our inn already has to offer." Lacey, visibly impressed, added, "It's clear that you're not just a gardener. This talent for design, it's exactly what we need." Gordon's model was not just a physical representation of his ideas, it was the embodiment of his passion and skill, a compelling testament that he was much more than a simple gardener. In that moment, he proved his worth not only as an artist, but also as a creative visionary capable of transforming a simple space into a dazzling and memorable setting. After presenting the impressive model, Gordon realized it was the perfect time to open his heart and reveal the truth about his past. Taking a deep breath, he began his story. "Before becoming a gardener here, I had a very different life," Gordon said, his voice carrying a mixture of nostalgia and pain. "I studied interior design at the finest schools in Europe, Paris, Milan, Berlin. I spent years honing my skills and working on projects that filled me with pride." Lacey interrupted, surprised, "But then how did you end up as a gardener here? It seems like a drastic career change." Gordon looked at the floor, mustering the courage to continue. "When my father passed away, he left me a considerable inheritance. But my stepmother, whom he married late in life, had other plans. She set it up to look like I had committed financial fraud. With my reputation destroyed and no resources to fight legally, I lost everything." There was a heavy silence in the room. Mary, who had previously laughed at the idea of Gordon being more than a gardener, now looked at him with an expression of compassion and respect. "That's terrible, Gordon. I can't imagine what you must have gone through," Robert, visibly shaken, added, "It's a story of great injustice. You're a man of many talents, and you were reduced to a shadow of yourself because of someone else's greed." Gordon smiled sadly. "It was a tough time, but I found refuge in the garden. Here, I could create beauty and peace, even if no one knew about my true passion and skill." Lacey, moved by Gordon's story, affirmed, "Your story is inspiring, Gordon. Your resilience and talent are remarkable. You deserve to be recognized for who you are, not just for what you do in the gardens." Gordon nodded, feeling a weight lifted from his shoulders as he shared his story. It was a new beginning, not only for the party he would decorate, but also for his own life. He realized that despite the obstacles and challenges, his true essence, his passion for art and design, had never left him. It was time to reclaim his true path. With the newly gained trust of the inn administrators and Lacey, the events coordinator, Gordon felt a renewed sense of inspiration and determination. It was his chance to show everyone not only what he was capable of doing, but also who he truly was. Wielding his palette of talents, he began the transformation of the inn for the party. The days that followed were a true marathon for Gordon. He moved with inexhaustible energy, personally choosing every flower, every fabric, every decorative element. His sketches and ideas from the model began to come to life, turning the inn into a fairy tale setting. One day, as he was selecting flower arrangements in the garden, Lacey approached, watching Gordon's work with admiration. "I've never seen anything like this, Gordon. You truly have a special gift," she said as he carefully chose lilies and roses. Gordon smiled, grateful. "Every detail tells a story. I want the guests to feel the magic as soon as they enter." As he worked, Robert came by to check on the progress. He was impressed with the transformation that was already taking place. "Gordon, this is getting amazing. I knew you were talented, but this surpasses all expectations." Gordon, proud of his work, replied, "I want this party to be remembered, not just for its grandeur, but for the feeling it evokes. Every element is being chosen to create a unique experience." In the days leading up to the party, Gordon worked tirelessly, coordinating teams, adjusting lighting, and finalizing floral arrangements. His vision was becoming a reality, a combination of natural elegance with touches of modern sophistication. Mary, who had initially doubted Gordon, confessed her admiration. "You've truly transformed this place, Gordon. You've brought life and color in a way I never imagined possible." In the end, when the decoration was complete, Gordon stepped back to admire his work. The inn was unrecognizable, bathed in soft and welcoming light, with flowers and foliage creating an ethereal and enchanting atmosphere. It was the embodiment of his journey, a testament to his skill, passion, and resilience. The trust given to him was not just a recognition of his talent, but also a symbol of redemption. Gordon knew that regardless of what happened at the party, he had already achieved a personal victory, the reaffirmation of his true identity as an artist and designer. The days passed until the day of the party arrived, and the inn was unrecognizable under Gordon's skillful command. The venue had turned into an earthly paradise, a spectacle of beauty and sophistication that left the guests in awe as soon as they walked through the doors. Soft lights illuminated the space, stunning floral arrangements adorned each table, and the harmony of colors created a magical atmosphere. Gordon, dressed in understated elegance, discreetly observed from a distance, his heart beating with a mixture of anxiety and pride. He watched as the first guests entered, their eyes lighting up with admiration and astonishment. One guest, dressed in an elegant evening gown, approached Lacey, the events coordinator, and exclaimed, "I've never seen anything so enchanting. Who is behind this spectacular decoration?" Lacey, with a proud smile, pointed to Gordon. "Believe it or not, it was our gardener, Gordon. He's a hidden talent we just discovered." Words of admiration and surprise spread among the guests. One of the most renowned guests, an influential art critic, approached Gordon. "Your work here is nothing short of a masterpiece," she said, looking at him with a mixture of respect and admiration. "You've managed to capture the essence of natural beauty and turn it into art." Gordon, moved, replied humbly, "Thank you very much. I just tried to bring a bit of the outdoors inside, creating a space that reflects the beauty and tranquility of nature." As the party continued, more guests approached Gordon, offering compliments and expressing their wonder. Robert and Mary, the administrators of the inn, watched with a mixture of surprise and satisfaction. "Gordon, you've exceeded all our expectations," said Robert, extending his hand in appreciation. "Your skill and creativity have brought this party to life in a way we never imagined." Mary added, "You're not just a gardener, Gordon. You're an artist, a true designer. The way you've transformed this space is extraordinary." The party was a resounding success, and the night unfolded with an aura of enchantment. For Gordon, that night represented more than just the success of an event. It was the affirmation of his talent and passion. He had finally emerged from the shadows of anonymity, revealing himself not only as a skilled gardener, but as an extraordinary designer whose vision and art were capable of touching the hearts and minds of all who were fortunate enough to witness his work. After the resounding triumph at the party, Gordon's confidence was at its peak. The recognition of his talent not only filled him with pride, but also rekindled a flame of determination to confront a painful chapter from his past, the injustice committed by his stepmother. On a quiet morning after the party, Gordon called a meeting with Robert, Mary, the administrators, and Lacey, the events coordinator. Sitting in the conference room with the gentle sunlight streaming in through the window, they looked at Gordon, sensing the seriousness in his demeanor. Gordon began to speak with a firm yet emotional voice. "I'm informing you that I will seek justice for the things I endured with my stepmother." Robert then asked, "And do you have evidence of everything, Gordon?" Gordon nodded. "Yes, over all these years, I've gathered information, kept some documents that my stepmother didn't know existed. Now, with the support and recognition I've received here, I feel strong enough to seek justice." Lacey, ever supportive, said, "Gordon, you have our full support. It's a tough battle, but you're no longer alone. We'll do whatever we can to help." Mary promised, "Your story, your fight deserves a fair ending." Encouraged by the support he received, Gordon felt a mixture of relief and determination. He knew the road ahead would be challenging, but the injustice he had suffered needed to be corrected. Armed with the truth and with the support of those who now saw him not just as a gardener, but as a man of honor and talent, Gordon was ready to confront his past and reclaim his life. It was time to close a painful chapter and start a new filled with hope and justice. Following the courageous decision to confront his past, Gordon embarked on a meticulous process of investigation to expose his stepmother's manipulations. With the help of a skilled lawyer and the unwavering support of the friends he had made at the inn, he delved into the depths of legal documents and financial records for weeks. Gordon and his lawyer, Mr. Talon, worked tirelessly, sifting through every clue and every piece of paper. They uncovered an even larger web of lies and skillfully orchestrated forgeries by Gordon's stepmother to divert him from his inheritance. One sunny afternoon, Gordon and Mr. Talon called a meeting with Gordon's stepmother at a law office. Sitting face to face with the woman who had destroyed his life, Gordon felt his heart racing, but his determination was unwavering. "You never thought I would find out, did you?" Gordon began, his voice firm, "But here we are, with all the evidence of your manipulations." His stepmother, a woman of austere appearance and a cold gaze, initially remained defensive. "You have nothing against me, Gordon. They are just empty words." Mr. Talon, with a confident smile, placed a stack of documents on the table. "Actually, we have more than words. We have evidence of your forgeries, of the financial maneuvers you made to divert Gordon's inheritance. Everything has been meticulously documented." His stepmother looked at the papers, her face losing color. She tried to argue, but the evidence was overwhelming. She had been caught in her own web of lies. After intense negotiations, it became clear that there was no way out for Gordon's stepmother except to accept the settlement proposed by Gordon and his lawyer. Gordon would regain his legal rights and the inheritance his father had left him. Leaving the law office that day, Gordon felt a mixture of relief and vindication. He had confronted his past and emerged victorious. Justice, so elusive for years, had finally been achieved. Now, with his inheritance and his name restored, Gordon looked to the future with new eyes. He was no longer the gardener silenced by injustice, but a man who had reclaimed his life, ready to explore new horizons with the confidence and freedom he deserved. Gordon's victory against the injustices of his past marked the beginning of a new era in his life. With his rightfully recovered inheritance and his talent finally recognized, he opened the doors to a future filled with possibilities and promises. Leaving behind the role of an underestimated gardener, Gordon fully embraced his passion for interior design and gardening, merging them into a successful career as a decorator. The days of invisible work at the end turned into distant memories. Now, Gordon was frequently seen at prestigious events in art galleries, where his name began to gain prominence. Each project he undertook became a celebration of colors, textures, and natural harmony, drawing the attention of high-profile clients. On a fall afternoon, while finalizing a project for a renowned restaurant that sought to incorporate natural elements into its design, Gordon reflected on his journey. "Who would have thought that the inn's gardener would become a respected name in the world of design?" he said, conversing with Lacey, who had become a close friend and an admirer of his work. Lacey smiled, looking around the transformed restaurant. "You always had this talent, Gordon. You just needed the right opportunity to shine, and you've done more than that. You've redefined what it means to be an artist." But the transformation in Gordon's life was not limited to his professional sphere. During his ascent as a decorator, he met Isabella, a photographer who shared his passion for beauty and art. Together, they explored new creative horizons, finding in each other an understanding and a love that complemented their lives. On a starry night, as they walked through a garden that Gordon had designed, Isabella stopped, looking at him affectionately. "You've brought so much beauty into the world, Gordon, and into my life as well." Gordon, holding her hand, replied, "You've helped me see that even after darkness, life can bloom again. With you, I found not only love, but also a happiness I thought was lost forever." Gordon had found not only success and recognition, but also true love and happiness. His journey was proof that even when faced with adversity, we can emerge stronger, turning our dreams into reality and finding beauty in every new beginning. Thank you for joining us today on Deep Stories. Be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our next video.